Why not?
There you go. We're live.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, we're live now. Okay. Perfect.
Now we're actually recording.
Now I can
too,
get caught saying
Oh,
stupid
man.
shit and embarrassing stuff.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
That's
Boy, this
right.
is going to be the weirdest show we ever done, man.
I don't know
come
about
on,
that.
no. Not even
You
close.
don't think? Okay.
No. Well, okay. I'm gonna go on here and read the rest of the
The
stuff
intro?
that we're supposed to. Yeah. Unless you want to do it, Rob.
Oh, no.
Welcome to the
No.
Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast, episode 342. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else you as a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from a fair and unbiased and honest perspective. I'm not Chad Wallace. Chad Wallace is the host, and he's sitting over in Washington. I'm Rob Smith, and on this show, we have Jimmy from Atibal Optics?
Atibal.
Atibal Optics.
Attaboy, Atibal. Right.
Atibal. Okay, we got Tony, and we got Zane, and me.
Not me.
Well, I said you were Chad Wallace sitting over there in Washington.
I don't think he's in Washington.
I'm not in Washington, though. It's just as bad, almost.
Yeah, they're both. Ugh. Anyways, we got to go to what we did in firearms. Okay, mine's easy. I didn't do jack squat, but I did get 2 toys in.
What'd you get?
Midway USA was having a sale on the P80 lowers, the Glock 17, I believe, P80 lowers, and I'm like, why do I need one of those stupid things? 2 days ago, 2 of them showed up in my mailbox.
So how much did you drink that night?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, exactly.
What else I ordered that night?
I'd rather order off of Midway or Brownells than Amazon. So it's all
Midway.
good.
It was a Midway. I'm not a big Amazon orderer unless I can't find it anywhere else. But now the only thing I know now is I don't have a freaking drill press. Do you really need a drill press to drill out those pinholes?
No, you can use, if you have a Dremel tool, you can do it. Just be careful. Or a hand drill.
I've got a hand drill. I'm just like, I just want to make sure I don't get a cattywampus, then you'll be hosed.
You could probably even use like a literal hand drill because it's the plastic. You could stick it in something and spin it by hand and cut and literally cut the holes in it.
Now I just got to determine what I want them to be when they grow up.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. I'll go with Tony.
So firearms related, didn't get anything new in as a gun stuff, but I did get a couple of knives in from Kershaw and from Cold Steel that I'll be giving away at the next diversity shoot on October 22nd. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Zane?
I gotta find the mute button. I found the mute button. It's over there somewhere. We had our annual Friends of Nra Banquet Saturday, so that kept me busy pretty much all week preparing for that. I shot exactly 1 round this week because ammo is very expensive. That 1 round that just happened to go through a wild feral hog's head. So, but nice. Other than that, nothing.
Yeah. I guess I'll go next, and we'll leave Jimmy for last since he did fun stuff trying to win guns or something. I actually went to the range because unlike Zane, I was able to shoot 50, 60 rounds of 9mm.
You must be rich.
Right, man.
Actually,
saving that for a rainy day.
No, I wasn't rich.
When the apocalypse happens,
I had found I was looking for some 243 ammo a couple weeks ago, and I found about 100 rounds of loaded up 9mm that I had totally forgot about. And so I took it because I got the Hyperfire PDI trigger, and it's supposed to work with a PCC. And so I had to go try it out.
Chad, I can tell you what, our Bass Pro Shops, they've got an ample supply of 243 Winchester.
Well, yeah, but they probably not 105 grain match bullets.
I don't have a 243, so I'm like, 243. I got 1,000 rounds. I got all sorts of it, and I'm like, if I don't have 243.
It's just like a 6mm Creedmoor. It just shoots lighter bullets.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. Well, of course, the rifle I have for it cost me nothing because unlike Jimmy, I actually won this rifle.
Oh yeah, well,
But that's pretty much what I did. So Jimmy, tell us all about if you did anything fun in firearms.
well,
Or-
everybody's seen that video. For the most part, if you haven't, it's on Instagram. So I went to one of our dealers here locally out in Tempe, Arizona, and they had this arcade game where you stack all these blocks, you stack them all the way to the top, and then you'll win the grand prize, which is a pistol. I don't know what pistol they were going to give me, but they gave away a FN 503, I believe, a couple of days before that. And so stacked it all the way to the top. I got gypped. I thought I won, but that last row was full of text. And so it kind of deceiving in a way, thinking that you've already won the game. And I ran around the store celebrating, realizing after Matt Boggs over at Alpha Dog's like, hey, there's still one more row. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I had to run back, and I was told if I wasn't wearing flip-flops and actual boots, I would have won. But, did not win the rifle, or I mean the pistol. But even if I did, I probably would have gave it. I wouldn't have taken it anyways, maybe not.
Well,
I don't know.
if you would have been wearing boots, you wouldn't have gotten off that 5-foot vertical leap you got off when you thought you won. Oh,
I wish you would have panned the video over to the camera over to me celebrating. I'm like high-fiving random strangers in the store, I had no clue what was going on. But other than that, trying to conserve ammo. I haven't really gone to the range. I'm running low on 5.56 and 223, 308, 300 blackout. But I do have 224 Valkyrie for whatever reason. Nobody shoots that round. But did a little hunting this morning for javelina with my son. We went out into the desert at about 11 o'clock. I got 100 degrees, and we said, screw it, we're going back. So that's basically what I've done in the firearm stuff over the weekend, really. And that's it, other than trying to get product back in stock, which has been hard to do. Anything in the gun industry right now is just tough to get in. So,
yeah, we'll probably mention that later, huh?
right.
Yeah, well, that was good to know. So we'll get into our announcements now. You can go to thegunandgearcult.com and pledge your support for us if you would like. Of course, our bandwidth sponsor is our friends over at Patriot Patch Company. You can go check their website for new patches. Pre-order patch of the month is the Wrapped and Strapped in, one that they sent out for Halloween. It's pretty cool. Of course, if you're shopping Amazon, you can use our firearmsradio.tv/Amazon affiliate. We now have 3 affiliate links that you can click on. One, we have a Matador Arms, a Men 2, and an Atibal affiliate link. And of course, there's also an Atibal discount code, which is kind of one and the same. If you click on the link, it'll take you there and you get the discount. If not, you can use Firearms Insider 20 and you get 20% off, which is pretty awesome. So anything that
Nice.
Jimmy talks about tonight, you can go buy and get for a discount if it's in stock, because nothing's in
Right.
stock.
Right.
Yeah, and
So
I guess
that's the secret.
that's the secret.
We'll give you 50% off everything that's in stock, and there's nothing in stock.
All the time, half the time.
That's right.
All right.
And since Rob read the intro,
The
I have
views
to
and
read the
opinions expressed
disclaimer.
in this podcast are those of the individual co-hosts and do not reflect the official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network and/or their employers. This is not legal advice, nor should it be considered as such. Viewer discretion is advised. This is especially true on live shows. And now let's talk about some optics.
So,
All right.
Jimmy, you're on stage now, but of course, tell us a little bit about how you got into the optics company. What made you decide to do this? Stuff like that. Then we'll start at the basics.
Yeah, so a little history about Atibal. People think that we're fairly new, but we've been around for about 8-9 years now, which in the gun industry isn't a long time. So I guess we are still kind of new when you come into the optics, when you're dealing with companies that have been around for 50, 30, 40, years. But how we got into it was basically my wife was like, you need to make more money because I'm about to quit my job and not ever go back to, she was a marketing director for a plastic surgeon who was a complete asshole. And so when she got pregnant with our second kid, and I've always had like an interest in guns. I've always dealt with overseas manufacturing for other parts of our business because we used to have an Amazon business. I know that you guys mentioned that you guys hate Amazon, but
We don't hate Amazon.
Well, I don't hate Amazon. I just don't think it has a very good gun-friendly policy.
Yeah,
Oh,
and if you're
absolutely.
drunk
That's
buying stuff, you don't go to Amazon, you go to Brownells or Midway.
right. And so, so it was kind of two things. We were doing a little bit already with e-commerce stuff. And then when push came to shove with my wife not going back, I came from a military family. My dad was in the Air Force for over 20 years. And so it's just, it's like the American dream, right? You put the work in to fulfill, an outcome that you want to happen, right? You set a goal for yourself. And like, in the gun industry is a very, very hard industry to break into. It's very, what do I want to say? Reputation based, right? And you've got to be in it for a very long time to build that customer trust. And so when we came out with some of our products in the very beginning, we did a lot through social media where a lot of the bigger optics companies at the time weren't really doing anything. And I think when we, had like 60, 70,000 followers on Facebook, you had companies like, Bushnell with 8,000 followers, and they've been around forever. And so, the older brands weren't really, communicating or being in touch with what's happening now and with their customer base. And so that's kind of where we've grown was through social media. And social media will either kill you or carry you, one of the two. If you sell complete junk and crap, you'll get exposed. But we kind of stayed to a point where we had affordable prices, we had a high standard of quality control. Yes, we were utilizing some of the same manufacturers of the cheaper brands, but we were going through every single product, and I would say between 30 and 40% of the product that we had come in, we couldn't even sell, right? And so that just goes to show, like, 30 to 40% is a huge number. You want that number to be less than 5%, 2%, but 30 to 40%, you can't run a business. But what it did do for us is that we were able to get these products out and they actually worked, right? They didn't get something that was just didn't hold zero or turned off or whatever the case may be. And we caught all that stuff before we shipped it out. It was a lot of work. And I'll be honest, like, we weren't making a lot of money on the optics stuff. It was just getting it out there at a price that, had people take, okay, what's this? We'll take a chance. $60 for a red dot. Okay, whatever. Sure. Right. And I remember when we first started, people were like, lifetime warranty. Who cares? They're not going to be around for a year. 9 years later, we're still here. And we've kind of, I would say, led the industry in coming out with LPVOs in terms of, the magnification range and price points, right? You either come out with something innovative or you come out with something that's just an unbelievable price. And we've been able to do kind of both at the same time. So back in 2016, 2017 is when we came out with our XP8 1-8. And that was before the primary arms and the Strike Eagles LPVOs. And you saw about 6 to 8 months to a year later, the bigger companies came out with essentially the same optic, right? But, that's kind of where we've started from, and kind of what we've done is just come out with, great price points, great warranties, and really kind of our bread and butter is the LPVOs is what we do. So I hope I covered everything.
You probably did.
And more.
Uh,
Shut up.
it's
Got an hour show.
It's however long we want to go. Really,
Right. Okay.
it really doesn't matter. It'll still probably won't be a super long show anyway. So you're good to just babble on about things. You might get interrupted by all of us to ask questions.
Right.
Like you pretty much were one of the first to come out with like a 1 to 10, and then you have first focal plane. also. I know when they came out, we discussed them on the show, but that was, whenever it was. We didn't have you on, of
Right.
course, and I'd only seen maybe a prototype, I think.
Yeah, that was at TriggerCon, and that was back in 2018, and we were
Right.
showing that off back in 2017. We weren't the first, I'll be upfront with that. But what I'll tell you is, we've to give you a little bit of history of a 1 to 10 LPVO, right? The very first company to come out with an LPVO was back in 2009, 2010, and that was by March Optics. And March Optics is a premium, high-end Japanese manufacturer, if you guys ever heard of March
Right.
before. And so they came out with a 1 to 10 years ago, right? But 10 years ago, people weren't even getting used to 1 to 4s. You had that argument like, oh, I don't need a 1 to 4, I've got a red dot. Or I don't need a 1 to 6, I got a 1 to 4. And who needs a 1 to 8? And so on and so on. And, who needs a 1 to 10? But, that's just kind of, the evolving, LPVO. It's like you can have it at the high end and still shoot something 600 yards out, or you can leave it at the low end, and for anything for CQB, fast target acquisition. But so March Optics was the first. They're a Japanese manufacturer, way ahead of their time. And timing is everything. You can't come out with a 1 to 10 when people are just starting to get used to 1 to 4s, right? And so that product was quickly discontinued, not even a year after its release. Okay, so it didn't do very well. Then you have another company a few years later called IR Voldalda. I believe they're a Romanian brand. They're very expensive. They have a 1 to 10 first focal plane scope. The thing was very big and clunky. It was over 2 pounds, very heavy, and it was at a price point of $3,000, right? So you're going to have to shell out some cash. And so there wasn't really any sort of alternative. I believe Sightmark had the Ezekiel 1 to 10 a few years back, and I believe it got terrible reviews. I think even on Amazon, it got like a 1 or 2 star review average. And so it wasn't good. And so for us to be the first, we're not. I think for us to do it the right way and at a price point that is affordable for most people, I think that's kind of where we really hit home. And it's starting to get dark here. Obviously, I'm in my truck. But, and so that's kind of the history there. And so when we came out with ours, with a lot of these manufacturers and a lot of people that are coming out with 1 to 10s now, you see, Sightmark, coming out with another 1 to 10, you Fox Swamp Optics with another 1 to 10, Vortex coming out with a 1 to 10, but there's only companies that are doing it the right way, especially when you go with a 1 to 10, you're limited into the size of an LPVO, right? You still want it to be an LPVO, not this huge optic on your AR, right? And so what do? You have to increase the objective lens size. You have to increase the tube size allow for better clarity and light transmission, especially at longer distances. So you'll see a lot of 1 to 10s that are popping out on the market that are just getting on the bandwagon, where they're coming out with a 30 millimeter tube with a 24 millimeter objective lens and a second focal plane. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. But they're using the 1 to 10 as a marketing ploy to get people to buy just because, oh, it's a 1 to 10. It's the new best thing that's out there for LPVOs, where if you have somebody that really knows what they're talking about in terms of optics and they actually tell you the difference on why you don't buy a 1 to 10 with a 30 millimeter tube, is reason one is because you don't have enough light transmission and clarity to come through because the tube size is so small and the objective lens is so small. So the only 1 to 10s that I would recommend, I hate to say this, but it's going to be the Vortex, the IOR Valdalda, and the Atibal, because we all are in the first focal plane variation. We all have at least a 34 millimeter tube. We have the largest at 35. I believe that the IR Valdalda is also a 35 millimeter tube, but we also have the largest objective lens at 30 millimeter, where the other ones are at 24. So at 10 times the magnification, the Atibal X 1 to 10 will have a better exit pupil than the Vortex and the IR Valdalda. And, with when we came out with it in 2018, and I know Chad saw the prototype at TriggerCon, we actually placed second place at TriggerCon for their Golden Trigger Awards for innovation for the optics division. We're going against heavy hitters like Vortex, HoloSun, Trijicon, Leopold. Did I say Vortex? Vortex. And we placed second, and Sig was there, obviously. But Sig wins everything. I think there's kind of a joke that they call it Sigatron. Sig comes out with a brand new ammo, and they don't ever, manufacture ammo, but they're the best ammo. They're the largest, I guess, sponsor of the show. So your true winners are your second place companies. But so we lost the Sig with their BDX, which is pretty cool. It's a Bluetooth rifle scope that communicates with your rangefinder.
Right, and it is the first generation was, I heard, had a few problems, but they're on Gen 2 now, and I hear it works a little better.
Right. And not to get into much with Sig there, but if we talk a little bit about the BDX from my standpoint, yeah, it's great for stationary targets. But if you're going after hunters, right, and you got your rangefinder, you better make sure when you transition from your rangefinder to your scope, that animal at 500 yards doesn't move 2 feet, because now you're completely off, and you don't see that between the two, right? And so I just don't know, but
yeah,
that's my thought behind it. But going back to the 1 to 10, we came in second place, which was huge for us, being the smallest guy there, and for us to come in second place is huge. Not only that, we ended up getting featured on the front cover of Recoil magazine for their SHOT Show edition months later. We were on the front cover of UN 12. So the 1 to 10 has made a lot of noise. And I think what's most attractive for people and why it's getting a lot of attention is one, price point, and the clarity that you get for it. And there's, compared, you want to spend $3,000 on the other brands, or you want to give Atibal a shot at $799, and people are surprised, for the quality and clarity that they get at that price point. So
I got a question about that. You said you had a 35 millimeter tube. What's the deal with finding rings for it? Is it hard or?
No, not really. So if you take a look at a lot of the high end, mount manufacturers from American Defense Manufacturing, we've got a great relationship with Bobro Engineering. They make probably some of the best quick detach mounts on the market. You take a look at Warren, you take a look at Midwest, you take a look at LaRue. So every major mount manufacturer will have a 35 millimeter rings for it. And,
okay. So when I think optics, I think, is it 1 inch? Is it 30 mil or 34 mil?
Right. And that's pretty much the standard. And so it throws people off with 35. I've never heard of that. I'm like, well, it is a thing. And, there are mounts out there for them. So when somebody purchases it off our website, we'll have, at 35 millimeter mount, either Bobro, Midwest, or Warren are the three that we offer. So,
okay. I just want to make sure I didn't have to use like proprietary rings or something. So that's, no. I don't like proprietary stuff.
Right. Yeah, and I think Leupold has a 35 millimeter rings as well. And I think they sell them for like $80, or they're probably the cheapest ones that I know.
Right. I just looked at the Warren site, and like if you want a single one piece for like an AR or something, they do make a 35 millimeter.
Right. So it's not as difficult as somebody might think. That's probably the number one question that we get. But no, they're not hard to find.
They even make a 20 ammo A1 if you want. Right. I mean, I have to push them because they're local. So
right, no, they're great. We actually got along with. It's funny, there are companies that you get along with, and there's other companies that it's you got cliques within the industry. Right. It's a weird thing, but we got along with the guys over at Leupold at their booth. We went over their booth, checked out some of their optics, talked optics talk, and they came over to our booth and talked optics as well. And so no, those guys are great, man. So if you guys are looking for some quality USA built, and I say built, not made, to the big difference there, definitely check those guys out, because it's very hard to get anything especially optics made here in the US. It's too expensive, and plus we don't have the capabilities of, we don't engineer or make glass that's going to be as nice as the Japanese or some of the German countries, or European countries. So, but yeah, man.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we're done with your flagship, first focal
Spiel?
plane, 1 to 10 fancy optic, red dots. Now I know you did, years ago, did send me one of the SLR1 solar red dots. I still have it. It is
Nice.
now mounted on a purple rifle, but
Yeah, I've been seeing that. So I don't know. I was like, is that your wife's gun or is that your gun? Or you just like purple?
technically,
It is
I
2020
do.
now. So
I do like purple, but if you check out the review for the Timber Creek parts that are on it, they make all
Timber
different
Creek, yeah.
colors.
Yeah, they do some crazy colors for sure.
The picture in the main picture in the review is my daughter shooting it. So,
Oh, cool.
she's 17, so it's, hey, I needed something cool, and I figure, what better to use during, riots.
Right.
No, those
This guy's gonna
are
shoot me with a
protests.
purple
Those are
rifle.
peaceful protests, or mostly
The-
peaceful protests.
Mostly
No,
peaceful, right?
I live in
Mostly
Oregon. They're
peaceful.
riots.
Right.
So
Wow.
tell us something about. Do you have anything cool in the red dots coming out besides the solar one? You can tell us about it because it really is pretty cool.
Well, before we hit on that, like one last thing on the 1 to 10, we are coming out
Yes.
with a new reticle for it. Because reticles are like women; people have preferences. You can't just have one reticle because somebody will hate it or like it. So it's always good to have multiple reticles. So we're coming out with a reticle for the 1 to 10 in a first focal plane, where it's going to be a circle with a crosshair in it. So at 1 times the magnification, it looks like a circle dot type of thing, like an EOTech. And then once you crank in the magnification, now you have a crosshair with a Christmas tree. So it's really cool. I just wanted to get that out of the way. So we'll have a new version of the 1 to 10. And going back to your question with the red dots, we really don't have a lot playing with the red dots, just because there seems to be a red dot shortage. I don't know if we're all utilizing the same emitters for the red dots, like with all the manufacturers across the board, but we cannot get red dots to get back in stock. It's just been very long process, and we've been sold out of red dots for 5-6 months. It's just absolutely insane. And that goes with a lot of other companies are in that same boat as well, and trying to get replenished and restocked. But going back to the solar red dot that we came out with, there's only 3 companies that I know that have a solar red dot. That's going to be obviously Holosun, right? Then you got SIG, who also manufactures for Holosun. So it's essentially the same red dot. You're just going to pay $200 more for the SIG name and a better warranty. So the SIG will have a 5-year infinity warranty. So I don't really know how you can call it infinity when it's 5. And then Holosun will have a 3-year limited lifetime warranty, which I don't know how you can call a lifetime limited. So we are the only ones with a true lifetime warranty. And the other thing with us that separates us from the Holosun and the SIGs is that we do have a detachable solar panel, just because, with a glass solar panel, if that gun's broken or defective over time, you drop it, it cracks, it breaks, it stops working. You've got to basically send the whole red dot back in to get fixed or replaced, right? With us, if that solar panel becomes defective or broken over time, you're just going to swap it out like you do a battery. And guess how many that we've actually swapped out so far? I think 1 in a year. So it's a heck of a red dot. I don't know how many rounds you've put on yours, but it is my favorite red dot because of the solar capabilities. You're not dependent on batteries. And if you're in a low light condition, you can actually turn on the battery. And it also has a multi-reticle system with a circle with a dot as well. So in terms of longevity and durability, like solar is the way to go, honestly. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm still running the same battery because it's usually on solar. And I
right.
will say that the solar on it works quite well because a lot of them, like I have a Holosun, who
Right.
doesn't nowadays, and if I put it in the safe, it'll switch over to battery because it doesn't get enough light.
Right.
Yours has not done that yet.
Right. No, you still have to manually change it from auto mode to manual mode.
Right.
And so, there's going to be some give and take between the brands. Obviously they've got their own functions and features on theirs that differ from ours. But, so it's just, then that's something that we can probably add as well. But, it's just more money and time, I guess. And so.
What's the size of the circle in that red dot?
So it's a 35 MOA circle with I believe a 2 MOA or 3 MOA dot.
I think it's a 2.
That's
think
perfect.
what mine says.
Yeah.
I need a dot for my shotgun, and I think circle dots are the way to go on shotguns. So.
Oh yeah, that would be great for a shotgun for sure. But with ours, when you go to the circle dot mode, you have to be in battery mode. But the battery will give you 50,000 hours worth of battery life on the CR2032 battery. And the great thing about it too, it takes an Aimpoint T1H1 footprint. So if you wanted to buy a third-party mount from, say, Bobro or Warren, you can easily do that.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, I tend to lock out the solar function on mine anyways, just because I like batteries better. But it's nice. It's nice to have the option.
Right. And so you can run either or. That's the great thing about having options, right? You can run it in solar if you want, but I live in Arizona, and so we've got plenty of light to really brighten that red dot. So I don't know, and if you live in a place like, say, I don't know, Minnesota, where it's dark and gloomy all the time because of all the smoke, may not be your best choice.
Yeah. Well, like on the range, I'll switch it. If I'm just shooting, but like and the only dot I have with a solar panel on it is on my carry gun, so it's a pistol red dot. So
right,
I only switch it to solar on the range. But yeah, it is nice because there's plenty of sun down here in South Florida.
Yeah, Zane and I are both in South Florida.
Okay, cool. So you got plenty of sunshine. That's nice.
Yeah, Zane thinks sunshine is a fad.
I don't know what sunshine is, so.
It has been down here lately. I don't think it's quit raining in about 3 weeks.
No, it hasn't.
Well.
Yeah, you telling it to a dude that had to evacuate his house because it was almost burned down. Go ahead, tell Chad about how much rain you got.
It was 20 miles away. It wasn't super close, but you just couldn't see anything because it was all blown in here. Yeah, it was terrible. So, but we got rain. Now it's nice again. It's supposed to rain again. The usual Oregon weather. I do have one question for you, Jimmy, because
sure,
everybody has to ask. Most of your red dots are tube style mount on rifles, etc. Do you have? I see there's one mini red dot, and then there's an option for another one.
Right.
Yeah, the V2 and V3.
Right. So the V2, the funny thing about the V2, it's a solid red dot. It's, there's really no frills about it. It doesn't have the 50,000 hours worth of battery life. Any red dot now that comes out to market, the minimum's got to be 50,000 hours. So the MRD V3 is a little out, or the V2 is outdated. But when we had it out available, the thing was a beast. You could literally beat the shit out of it. It would hold zero. And it was a dependable red dot. With a lot of pistol red dots, they're not made very well, especially some of the cheaper stuff that you find on the market there. I'm not going to say any names, but there is a video of me smashing red dots with a mallet to prove my point. And people are like, oh, why would you do that that's not realistic. I'm like, well, me dropping my Glock with my red dot on top of it on concrete or gravel, it's going to break the red dot, unless it's going to be something substantial like an RMR. Yeah.
I may have raised my hand and done that with a competitor's optic. My pistol fell off the range table onto concrete and broke it.
Right. And so, and
Oh,
you
I
can say
can't
it.
wait for new pistol red dots to come out just to watch Aaron Callan drop it and break it and watch the internet cry.
Right. Right. And so with the MRDV too, we wanted to improve upon it. Like, so the thing with Atibal, we find what we can make better in the next rendition or version of that red dot. So we always want to be moving forward and not relying on past products, right? But so the MRDV3, so the version 3, what we found out, even though with the rubber mallet, ours takes a beating, right? With a rubber mallet. In the video, I smack our red dot about 30 times. The competitor took like 2 hits before it literally shattered. The other one held up a little bit better. But then we even took it a step further. We started doing all these. I get a message from one of our sponsor shooters. He's like, "Get it, Jimmy," and then he says about another company sucks. But anyways, he'll need 3 of the MRDVs 3s when they come out. He says, just getting text messages from people. But to get back to what I was saying though is when we came to the concrete drop test, so we had a Glock 19 fully loaded, not chambered, obviously. For safety precautions. And what we ended up doing is we took various red dots from every major manufacturer that's out there. Anything with a curved top, gonna break. First hit, doesn't matter who it is. And I thought we had a pretty good chance of surviving at least 1 or 2 drops on concrete, because if you take a look at our MRDV2, it's about 3 times the thickness of most pistol red dots in terms of the hood, the metal that goes around the glass. But having that curved shape, it doesn't matter. There's too much impact to where it's going to just shatter or crack the glass. And so we kind of like, why is the RMR kind of the most rugged red dot out there on the market? Well, it's their design, because we did a drop test on 2 RMRs and I ended up breaking both of them. So it was a very expensive test, but it goes to show how rugged these Trijicon RMRs are. The first one lasted about 3 or 4 hits, so I wasn't really too impressed. The second one, it was like 10 times. I'm just dropping it. And finally, I'm like, fuck, when is this thing going to break? And so I got on my tippy toes, held it above my head as high as I could, finally dropped it and got the damn thing to crack. And so, and we're kind of like, okay, this is something that we need to do to make a better red dot that just isn't fragile and breaks on 1 drop on concrete. And so we took a hard look at the patent from Trijicon. And if you ever take a look at their patent, a lot of patent jargon is you definitely need an attorney to look at it to decipher what they're trying to say, right? And it's confusing on purpose, right? And there's a lot of gray areas where you can argue one way or another, right? So in the patent, it brings up concave shape 10 times within the patent, 10 times. And so I was like, okay, concave, I get it, concave. We won't use a concave shape. So I was like, what we can do is do a very aggressive V shape. So, is a circle a square? No, it's not. So it's a V a concave. No, 2 different types of shapes. And so we were, we had some, we're going to start taking some pre-orders on the website, kind of showing off a little bit. And lo and behold, we get a nice little letter from Trijicon, right? So they obviously are keeping tabs on Atibal, which is, for me, I think it's a win. You know what I mean? Like, who in the hell are we to get a cease and desist order by one of the largest, optics companies out there? So obviously they see what they're doing, what we've been doing in the industry, right? Probably a lot of it has to do with that 1 to 10 and being on the front cover of Recoil UN12 magazine. Maybe had something to do with it. But when we talk to our attorneys as well, and basically what it comes down to is like, yeah, we can tell them they're wrong until we're blue in the face. But the problem is it comes down to money. Do you want to fight this to tell Trijicon they're wrong for $40,000, right? Because $40,000 to us is better off going off to trying to get red dots back in stock or coming out with a new product line or something, right? For a huge company like that get millions of dollars in just military contracts, $40,000 for them is probably nothing. And so it's kind of more of the company having more money at the end of the day. So what we've done is we've redesigned that V-shaped top to where where it's still gonna be rugged. It's still gonna handle the abuse, drop it on concrete, but we've got to change it a little bit because of that. And so, but yeah, we should be coming out that with hopefully by the end of this year or beginning of next. So it'll have 50,000 hours worth of battery life. It'll have a top loading battery. Oh, think of that. Top loading, right?
I have one request on it.
Right.
Mhm.
What's that?
Don't have it to have an auto off. Just you can either leave it on.
Right.
Manual
Yeah,
turn
right.
on, manual turn off.
Right. So what we've talked about with a lot of customers and some law enforcement guys is, for everyday carry, they want it to be on all the time, so they don't have to, fumble around and try to turn it on, right? Where a lot of red dots are like that, and that's kind of where the RMR is another great point for the RMR. Like, if you can afford an RMR, fucking get one. I'm telling you right now, I own some RMRs, and I'll be honest with you. I'll be the first one to tell you if it's crap or not, and no, it's not. And then I'll be the first one to tell you if it is crap. And I'm not shy about that either. And so what we've done on the last version that we had, the MRDV2, had a 5-hour auto shut off, which for most people is sufficient enough, right? Whatever. But now if you take a look at law enforcement, they do 12-hour shifts, right? So with their 12-hour shifts, we don't have ours that just stays on all the time. So what we end up doing is have a 12-hour auto shut off. So when they get in their patrol car, they just turn it on, and it's going to be on the whole entire time on their entire shift. And when they get off, it'll turn off. And so there's a reason why we did 12 hours for that reason, because 12 hours just seems like a weird number. But yeah, no, that's why it's a 12-hour auto shut off.
I was just thinking that, okay, I mean 12 is good, but and Zane's gonna back me up here, because that poor officer, what if he gets called at 12 hours and 1 minute and has to go somewhere?
Right. And that's the thing. You can't always,
You can't program for everything.
Right. I know. You guys
well,
are...
and then the same thing goes with, like, look, even with, say an EOTech, right, with their holographic sights with 4 to 6 hours worth of battery life, you can have the same argument there. Like, what if he takes his patrol rifle out and the battery's like, well, fucking turn it on. Just hit the button, right? So hopefully they're in a situation where they have time to realize that, I just got off my 12-hour shift. I got called in, hit the button, and it'll stay on for another 12 hours. So,
right.
And then that's, it's the easiest solution, right? So,
yeah, I'm a fan of just on or off. I'm not a fan of auto adjust and all. Like, I want it on or I want it off. And I'm okay with like the shake awake function some places are doing, but I even have that turned off on mine. Mine's just on.
Right. And the Shake Awake is a great feature. We have a red dot called the MCRD3 that has a Shake Awake with a AAA battery with 50,000 hours worth of battery life. And we've had that way before the Vortex Spark AR red dot ever came out to market, just FYI. And so... and with the Shake Awake, it's a cool feature to have. Like, honestly, the only reason why we did that is because that's what the market's determining. Like, that's what customers want. For me, it's not a big sell point for me, to be honest. The more crap you add into a red dot, the more failure points that you're going to have. And that's why you take a company like Aimpoint that has always been the same red dot forever, because they understand, like, you start adding stupid shit to it that you don't really need, that it less prone to failures. And so there's one less failure point, to have within that red dot. And so with the Shake Awake stuff, with our first generation of red dots that we've had with the Shake Awake, we did have some issues with the Shake Awake, that, and then in the second, when we get them restocked, which we've taken care of with the Shake Awake feature, where, once the Shake Awake turns on, the bitch just stays on. You can't turn it off manually. You have to take the battery out. But those are things when you release new products that you find out after the fact. It's like when you buy a car, right? You don't never want to buy the first generation of that car until they get the kinks out in the second gen, right? Like the Ford Bronco, right? I'm gonna wait for the second. It's like we bought a brand new back in 2017, a brand new Chrysler Pacifica for my wife and the kids for the minivan. Brand new. They redesigned everything. Fuck, that thing's got so many problems. But that they fixed it on the 2018, and so that's kind of where we're at with the MCRD3. But we've got lifetime warranties as well, so we take care of our customers when there is an issue as well.
And what's the footprint on that optic?
So the footprint with the MCRD3, it's already at an absolute co-witness height because the AAA battery sits underneath the red dot. So it's specifically for an AR platform.
I think he was asking about the MRD.
I meant the MRD. Yeah.
Oh, the MRD V3. It's not going to be an RMR because then I'll probably get another cease and desist order. But it will be the same as the Burst Fastfire, the Vortex Venoms, and the Vortex Vipers. So, which is now becoming a little bit more standardized with a lot of companies that are making Glock slides. You take a look at Strike Industries with their brand new universal optics ready Glock slide. You can pretty much put any red dot on top of that. Faxon is doing the same thing. Who else is doing that? But yeah, so there's a lot of manufacturers that are doing that.
Is Trigicon going after people for the footprint now too? I know they went after Holosun for the buttons, and then they're apparently going after y'all for your V.
Right. Well, the patent, it's very vague, right? If you ever read the patent, it's like windage and elevation adjustments with distinctive clicks. Well, that could be everybody. And I don't really know how that would hold up, if they did decide to go after somebody. And they do have needs, two mounting holes to affix to a mount. Like every pistol red dot needs to have 2 holes to mount to a pistol. And so
imagine that.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna do 1 screw and it's just the red dot's gonna spin.
No, you put an extra hole for that 3rd screw
3
and just don't use it.
Yes.
And you just don't ever use it.
Right.
I don't know. The ATF doesn't like you drilling 3rd holes.
No, they don't.
They are not fans.
2 holes, no more. Right. You might as well
That's
just
right.
go 4 holes all the way.
So basically, you guys have stopped making the version 2, the V2, and you're trying to get the V3.
Version 3, yeah. So the version 3, better battery life, more rugged, and that's basically the biggest differences between the two.
So if anybody's interested, how do you get on the wait list for the version 3?
Well, we're waiting on the new prototype from the manufacturer with the new design, the redesign, obviously. So that's kind of put it on a hold up. We were actually going to start doing back orders or pre-orders this month, but
Oops.
right. So we had to we've already got them all manufactured, and so we've got to change some of it in terms of we're going to put a permanent cover on top of it to fill in that V-shaped top, and end user wants to remove permanent cover. That's on them. So
They're probably already in stock on Optics Planet.
It's a transformer.
But yeah, so we had to basically redo all the packaging, redo all the instruction manual. So we literally had to throw all the stuff away and kind of redo everything here. But we'll put some new pictures on it when we do the pre-order. I don't want to put anything out now for, Church of God to come up with something to say something about, well, that's not good enough. I'm like, well, fuck you, So we're going to keep it on the DL for sure before we release it. And at that point, then we can argue with them and who's in the wrong and who's in the right.
So since we're talking about releases, is there anything new you can tell us about?
Right. So, it's
or
funny,
that you want to tell us about.
Right. Yeah. No, so it's something that we've already kind of hinted to back at during SHOT Show. So there was another company that came out with a 1 to 10 with the same exact optical design, same exact length, same exact weight. Funny, I don't know how they got those great features and ideas from. But anyways, so Vortex released a 1 to 10 that we've had since late 2017. Like it was the new best thing, 1 to 10 in a first focal plane. And we were working on a 1 to 12 already because at TriggerCon, you were there. We had about 4 or 5 Vortex reps come to our booth, specifically asking to take a look at the 1 to 10. And so they came in. I wish I would have got video of it and just like, oh, it's so great. Vortex reps come to check it out.
There's probably video somewhere of it.
Yeah, some security footage.
Yeah.
That would have been better video.
Right. And so when the 1 to 10 came out, when they released it at SHOT Show, it was great because we had a lot of, customers go on Instagram, and when I guess Recoil Magazine on their Instagram page, oh, new 1 to 10 for Vortex, and people were just going on there like, Atibal did it first. I'm like, yes, so we're gaining some traction here. But so when they did that, we decided to hint towards a 1 to 12, and we have the first prototype 1 to 12, but it's not to a point where it's ready for market. So we're working on the second prototype that I should have here by the end of this month or beginning of November. And so with the 1 to 12, we don't want it to be an LPVO. We're going to call it the hybrid 12, because once you start getting above a 10 magnification, it's no longer an LPVO. Like it's more of a hybrid type of scope. And when you take a look at what's happening in the gun market right now and in the firearms industry, you see a lot of companies kind of going to 308 pistol variations. Like you see companies like Black Collar Arms, like the Pork Sword, where basically it's a Remington 700 action with their chassis, with a foldable stock, with a 10-inch barrel that can still shoot 600 yards out. And the last thing that you want to do is put a 5-25 by 56 on it, where the scope's bigger than the actual pistol. And so there's definitely a good in between, and that's why we're going to call it the hybrid 12. But we had to make a decision with that product. Do we do it in a first focal plane or a second focal plane? Obviously, first focal plane is the hot thing that everybody wants in optics, right? But unfortunately, we had to make a choice, because once you start going above a 10x in magnification, you're going to need a side parallax focus, right? To help with accuracy and clarity at further distances. Honestly, all the 1 to 10s on the marketplace, from Atibal, Vortex, and even IOR Voldalda, would actually benefit from a side parallax focus. So with the new 1 to 12, we had to make a decision. If we go with the first focal plane, we wouldn't be able to have the side parallax focus, because if you take a look at an optical system within a scope, it's going to have 8 to 12 different lenses within the scope. And so when you add the side parallax focus, you can't have the first focal plane. Then it's going to make it a longer scope, because we still want to have it look pleasantly aesthetic and still be a compact shape. So if we did both the side parallax with the first focal plane, it's going to make it 2 to 3 inches longer, and it's already an inch and a half longer than the 1 to 10. So it will be in a second focal plane variation with a side parallax focus, which is going to be huge. And the biggest thing on that is going to be a 32 millimeter reejected lens with the same 35 millimeter tube. And so we're just kind of pushing the envelope on LPVOs. And honestly, we probably wouldn't have done a 1 to 12 if it wasn't for everybody else trying to do 1 to 10s. We didn't think it was going to take off as much as it did, really.
Gotcha.
So that's the newest thing that we're working on, probably the biggest thing that we're working on. And eventually we want to get into long range scopes, but that's not who we are. We're more of the LPVO, red dot, fast target acquisition to close to medium distances. That's our bread and butter. We're made for the AR.
Gotcha. You guys have any other questions for him, or should we move on with the show? I'll take that as a no.
No.
Jimmy, you can stick around if you'd like, or if you need to skip out, we understand. Just let us know, and that way we can have you say whatever you want to say about Atibal.
Well, actually, my son's getting done with his baseball practice here, and so he's probably going to hop in the car here in the next 5 minutes. So I'm gonna hop off. But what I want to say, Chad, hey man, thanks for having me on the show. It was nice to meet Tony, Rob, and Zane. I don't know how Zane looks like because he doesn't have video, but thanks for having me on,
you're not missing nothing.
Thanks for having me on, man. And I think with Chad, like, we met. I think you guys did a podcast on our 4x32 ACOG type of clone. And
We
I
may
think,
have.
right, that
I
was like 5 or 6 years ago. And I think that's kind of how we connected, and we just kind of
I
stayed in
think I
touch here
was
and there.
on that one, and our old host was there, and I just helped discuss it. And then,
Right.
like 3 years ago, or 3.5 or whatever, I met you at TriggerCon when it was in like Tacoma or wherever.
Right.
And
Right.
and I don't think last year at SHOT Show I saw you, but you were
No,
running
no.
around.
Yeah, the only show.
Oh,
Nope. Okay.
Yep, gone.
you
Nope,
there?
back.
No.
Nope,
Overseas
frozen. Done.
manufacturers for the most
Oh,
part.
they are. You're back now.
Damn. Okay. Oh, yeah. The only time I go to SHOT Show is to meet with manufacturers and industry partners. That's about it. The only show that we really do is going to be TriggerCon, and the reason why we do that because we've got a great relationship with Rainier Arms and John Wang over there,
Right.
and they're a distributor for Atibal. So obviously, we want to go to a trade show that one of our dealers does. It's kind of returning the favor a little bit.
Right.
Mhm.
TriggerCon's a great show too, man. It's small, it's intimate, it's not fucking batshit crazy, and you won't get
Exactly.
fucking COVID from it. So
Exactly. So tell everybody where they can find you in case they don't want to go to the show notes.
right. So you can obviously go to our website. It's pretty simple, Atibal. And it's funny because Atibal is my last name backwards. I just didn't have a cool name like Bushnell or Burris or Leopold, and so Atibal is Labita backwards, which is funny. To me, it is anyways. And then our website, obviously, Optics Planet, Rainier Arms, Palmetto State Armory are going to be our three major online retailers, and then that's probably the best place to get our products from. Are going to be those three major retailers.
Awesome. Well, we thank you for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I learned something. Glad you could make it.
Yeah.
I guess go pick up your son and eat dinner or something.
For sure, man. And thanks for having me on, guys. You guys
Yep.
are great.
Keep in touch. Later.
All right.
Yep.
Later, guys. Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Be good.
So now that we're done with Atibal Optics, and we're at 50 minutes or something.
Mhm.
Do you guys? Will one of these will be quick and the other one will be quicker?
Mhm.
So product spotlight and discussion. We have Springfield Armory Waypoint. MSRP is $16.99 to $23.99. And if you know anything about this,
I'm sorry. You said $16.99.
yeah, to $23.99. Is that what I said? Yes.
Yeah. Tony's shaking his hand and telling me I'm number one,
Well,
or shaking his head.
and if you've listened to the show, you know that I most of us on the show, or all of us, are not big fans of Springfield and their politics.
Courage. Sorry. Excuse me.
But they sometimes make decent products, so we will give them that. And that's why we're talking about
You are
their new.
generous. That's why you're the co-host, or you're the host.
I know. We're talking about their new rifle. Basically, this is their bolt action precision rifle. You get the idea. It's got all the fancy stuff, removable bolt knobs, 90-degree bolt handles, built-in pick rail, fluted bolt, stuff like that. Let's see, what else does it have? Let's see. Integral recoil lug. I don't know why they care about EDM raceways, but it has them. It's got an enlarged ejection port, a hybrid dual plane feed ramp. I could see come in handy. You can get it with. It's got a carbon fiber stock. It comes with a Trigger Tech trigger, which is adjustable from 2.5 to 5 pounds. Why they didn't put a lighter one in, I don't know, but I think I want less than 2.5 pounds on this type of precision style rifle. The stock does have an adjustable cheek comb. The stock has a bunch of QD mounts in it. Comes with a radial brake installed. It is threaded. It has custom painted camo. It is your standard AICS pattern magazines. It has a recoil pad. It's got a 3/4 MOA guarantee on it. So there's that. You can get it with a bunch of different barrel options, either or to carbon fiber or what is it, stainless steel, depending on. It was what I'm thinking. Depends on which one. Yeah, you get just a standard barrel or a carbon fiber barrel is the difference. They have a few different camo patterns you can get it for. It is available in 308 Winchester, 6mm Creedmoor, 6.5 Creedmoor, and 6.5 PRC. Let's see if I'm forgetting anything, which I sure am. I am. It's a decent looking rifle. I actually like the shape of the stock, stuff like that. I can see they'll probably sell quite a few of them. I would have liked it to have an adjustable stock, not just comb, but I'm thinking that for that price, hey.
Can you say Ruger precision rifle?
No, this is cooler looking. I'm just saying.
Yay.
700 style action, as you probably guessed, because I don't think I remember saying it. It looks like a nice rifle. I personally don't see where the price comes in, but the base model one is $1,700. Yeah, but I'm gonna build some sort of semi-custom one for the like $2,300 one. Probably cost me about the same, and that's what I'm thinking. But it is out there for people that like Springfield or wants a new bolt action like hunting / precision rifle. And yes, Rob, it's basically I would buy a Ruger precision rifle over this, but that's me.
I already have one. It's an awesome rifle.
Don't you have two or just one?
I have one Ruger
Okay.
precision rifle, and I've got a Sauer 6.5 Creedmoor. It's more of a hunting rifle, but I've got it set up for precision shooting.
Right.
And I've also got a Montana Rifle Company 300 Win Mag.
Oh,
That's
okay.
just a fun gun to pop a couple rounds, because you're not going to shoot all day with that thing. It's going to break your collarbone.
No kidding.
But anyways.
Kidding.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and say we already know about how I feel about Springfield Armory's politics, but that's fine. I went and checked it out because one of the big things they're talking about is their guaranteed 0.75.
Yeah, 0.75 MOA.
MOA, right? So I'm checking it out, and I'm just looking for anything. So I checked out every video I could find. I found no videos with anyone actually shooting live to get this 1/4 inch MOA. None.
1/4 inch.
Understand when they say 1/4 inch or whatever they say MOA guarantee, that's under ideal situation, perfect temperature, perfect this, great shooter, great scope, everything teed up, dialed in, boom, boom, boom.
But bro, no, I mean, I didn't see one out of the 5 or 6 videos I saw of anyone showing any grouping except Guns and Ammo. Guns and Ammo didn't show them shooting it live. They just showed a measurement and said they got 1/2 inch groups on it. And I'm like, okay, well, where are you pulling the trigger, or is this cherry picked, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, was it in a gun vise? Was it?
Yeah, and my whole thing is, so I went through and I started looking at some of the others. Almost everybody shoots, man. You know what I'm saying? And they almost everyone shows themselves shooting these guns and then measuring the groups. So I looked at the track record of the people who did videos, and they only did, I guess, sent this rifle, or the only people that did videos are people that don't show themselves shooting groups. So I find that suspicious, and maybe it's because I look now. I mean, since doing this show and seeing things like the 22 Nosler and the 350 Legend and the 224 Valkyrie, I'm just a little suspicious of new stuff that comes out and the greatness everyone tells you that it's going to shoot. So I just started looking, going, all right, who actually pulls triggers and does groups? And I didn't see any with this. And for the money, I can go with companies that have track records already of high end, I mean, just precision bolt action, lightweight rifles. and Springfield doesn't have that reputation yet. And to drop this amount of money on somebody who hasn't proven themselves with this type of firearm yet, and then throw on top of the suspicious fact that I don't see anyone pulling the trigger live, nah.
Yeah, I almost feel like they priced it in a way like someone up at some board meeting was like, well, people think you get what you pay for, so we need to charge more for this so they'll think it's quality. Like, I almost feel like that's had to have been the thought process here, because I don't see a $1,700 gun. Even if it does shoot 3/4 minute and it's a great product and it'd be one of the first ones from Springfield, but even then, I'm not seeing a $1,700 gun.
Yeah, and that's how I feel about it. I'm like, yeah, it's probably a nice gun, but I don't see the price in it for what you get.
But I was just trying to see proof of what should be their selling point, right? I mean, because everything else is a bolt action. I don't know. Lukewarm until they prove themselves. How's that?
That works for me.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
Okay, so that was the Springfield Armory Waypoint. Next up and last up, we only have a couple things because I figured the interview with Jimmy would take a while. So we have the first spear weapons retention catch.
I hate it. Next.
MSRP is $26.17.
What the heck is this?
This essentially
A seatbelt for your rifle.
No, it's a bungee cord to put a seatbelt for your rifle that you can put your rifle in, like behind your seat or something. You just hang it in there. I mean, literally.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Show it where everybody can see your rifle.
Well, I think it's not intended for, some hiding the rifle, Rob. It's just like maybe if you're patrolling or hunting or something and you just want to store it, like while you drive home or something. I don't know.
Who the hell comes up with this crap?
I don't know. I mean, I saw it and I was like, I got to talk about this because I'm like, I can understand how in certain situations you might want something like this just for the ease of it, but you don't need a bungee. You could probably just use some sort of a sling and shorten it up. Or
they're showing this guy carrying it on his chest rig. I'm like, just put a frickin'
a sling.
A sling, yeah. Thank you.
This is one of the things that I'm really trying to figure. I wish they would have had a video, so I could figure out how you're supposed to use this. I'm reading what they wrote. A weapon's retention catch is designed to help secure your weapon and is versatile enough to be worn on practically any platform. I don't know what the word platform is used in this sentence as. A wearable platform? I don't know what that is.
I have a feeling it's for people that are still using single point slings, and when they want to be all tactical and go hands on, they can attach it so it's not dangling. But if you're using a 2-point sling, you can just grab that little tab and pull down
and pull on it.
Now you have weapon retention. I
don't get the point.
Yeah. I don't either. It's beyond me, and maybe somebody will clarify it for us. I don't really see it as somebody wearing it, as opposed to maybe I see it more as you putting it on a seat so you can easily just throw a rifle in there.
Their picture on their website is a dude wearing it.
Yeah, the picture is on a chest rig.
I'm saying what I would use, the only use I can think for it. I'm not saying
actually what I would probably use something like this for would be to maybe secure like shovels and crap in my garage.
Okay,
there's a use for it.
This is actually what I'm thinking. And my partner used to say this has nutritional value. The more of these suckers buy, the better their kids will eat. The manufacturer's kids will eat. That's what the nutritional value of this is.
Got it.
I'm looking at it going, patrol? Who the heck straps their firearm down when they go on patrol? Unless they've changed how they patrol since I was in the Marine Corps. I want access to my gun. I don't want to have it strapped to me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see, was it a SEAL or a Delta Force who invented this?
Oh, yeah, dude, definitely. Oh, it definitely has to have Spec Ops. It must have been tested by SEALs and Delta Force, Ninja, Road Warrior, Ranger Battalion.
Come on. Oh, about. Here we go.
Oh, I know what maybe it's for.
What?
Maybe it's for helicopter pilots, and so they can just like put it somewhere on their seat where it can hold it, and it'll stay there. So if they crash, if they can get it to it, they can still have access.
Well, they actually make a special bag just for that, because when I was airborne in the Marine Corps and we jumped out of airplanes with rifles, and there's already a thing for that.
No, I'm talking about the pilots. They don't jump out.
All I'm doing is thinking this, man. They have a website. They could have done a better job explaining what this particular piece of gear is, because the only picture they have a picture of it on a piece of molly.
Yeah.
And then they have a picture of it strapped to a dude's side who's at parade rest for some reason with his rifle under his armpit. So I have no idea what I'm at a loss to what's the point of this.
Well, and like you said, you read the full description and it didn't say much. So, hey.
Hold on. Great product. Would definitely recommend it. Allows for effective weapon retention when in tight places or switching to sidearm capability. Oh my God! It's called a sling, Chief. It's called a sling.
I can't see how this would be easily switched to a sidearm. I mean, yeah, you drop it on the sling and then you switch to your sidearm.
Unless you're supposed to keep it attached, and like for some reason it's like a resistance band, and you can get your workout by doing up drills, like
by raising the rifle up.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now let me go into a pet peeve, mainly because maybe I'm old and things changed.
Maybe
the overuse of the word platform. Okay, when I was in, a platform is something you actually mount a weapon system to. I don't know when platform changed to whatever secures the weapon to you mean to a boat, to a Jeep, to your car? What's the platform that it secures the weapon? I'm confused.
I'm confused.
Hey, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember something. To Chad, platform is a type of shoe.
No, it's not.
Nice. It would make more sense, but yeah, I think this just has nutritional value. You drop $25 on this, their kids eat better. Thanks, but no thanks. They have some stuff. I mean, I went to their website, not website, their YouTube page. No, because they have first. They have a couple of different things, and they got First Spear TV as their YouTube channel. They got some cool stuff, but this won't it.
Yeah, they make like weapons cases, and they do have other stuff that is actually useful in my opinion. But
unless
that's
I'm
part of the reason I stuck this in
something
there.
Here.
I think
maybe I'm completely missing something. I don't know. I just don't.
Yeah. Okay. So that was the First Spear weapons retention catch. We did have some listener feedback. I just sent him an email. Basically, the last show on YouTube, my volume was terrible, and it was pretty much my fault. Now, we were having problems with iTunes also, so some of the downloads didn't work. But the YouTube video, I'm really quiet because when I was doing the review, I kept not talking into my mic. So I'm going to try to fix that. I've been working on it lately, and hopefully tonight is better. So that was the listener feedback.
Constructive criticism. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean that exactly. I was like, and I knew it was quiet when I actually sent the audio.
Because I'll be honest with you, I don't want to listen to myself talk for 10 seconds, much less an hour.
Well, that's the thing is when I edit it and cut out the junk at the beginning and end, I can actually visually see, okay, this was lower and this was higher. So I know what it was. And I was like, okay. And then before we upload it to the actual podcast, it gets leveled out. So it's basically if you're listening live or if you're getting the audio from YouTube is when it causes problems. So hopefully tonight I sound better.
Okay. I went to their website and I checked out what they call platforms. Everything's a platform, bro, including the thing you put on your dog, the vest, A cummerbund, armor is a
All right,
platform.
can we ban the use of the word platform?
Shoulder pads are under platform. Chest
dear
rigs are
God.
platforms.
Okay. Now we know,
Okay.
Tony.
I just didn't know what a platform was, so to them, just anything you can, anything's a platform. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Gotcha.
All right. Got you.
Okay. So,
Oh, my
Tony, it's time for you to tell us about the once a month, once a week podcast.
The Second is for Everyone Diversity Shoot. Oh, excuse me. Second is for Everyone podcast. I've recorded it. I only have a couple more sections and commercial to do, and I also have to announce the Patreon winners. I might go ahead and put this week's show out and just dig up the Patreon because I have it almost done. I have 10 more minutes to do. So I might as well just put that one out and then pull the names, everyone's name for the winning stuff this week. On October 1st, we kicked off the Bubbles giveaway. So I'm working with Ursula Williams over at Cinemass Podcast and Skillset Magazine. And we're going to have some cool giveaway stuff from a few manufacturers, including, dang it. Never mind. We're gonna have some giveaways. We're gonna have some cool stuff. She's sending it to me so I can put that in a video. Also, I have at least a gift bag worth about $100, and we're gonna have like 3 winners. So if you have purchased a shirt with me on it, with the Bubbles thing, and the funds from this goes, of course, to split between myself and Aaron Paulette over at Pink Pistols and Operation Blazing Sword. So please join this, buy a t-shirt, show us a proof of purchase, something. It goes from October 1st to October 31st. November 1st, I'll be announcing the winners of whoever won this stuff, and it's awesome. So I can't wait to give that stuff away to you guys. I've been posting some of the things we're going to be giving away to our Patreons. I hope you guys saw the Larry Vickers AR-15 book that's signed by Larry with a note from Larry to you guys, whoever wins it, thanking you for supporting the diversity shoot. I thought that was awesome. And also comes with like a limited edition poster. The book is numbered, and I've only opened the book to the first page where Larry has, the note written. I haven't even cracked it open since then. I closed it up, stuck it back in the original box, sealed it back up, because if you're going to look through it, it's going to be virgin. You're going to be the only one to look through your book, or at least the first one, as far as I know, that looks through it. What else? Diversity shoot is coming up on October 22nd. It's going to be great. It's at the Heritage Guild in Easton, PA. Please buy your tickets at diversityshoot.com so I can get a head count. Got some cool giveaway stuff. Cold Steel and Kershaw provided knives that we're going to be giving away in our bags, including stuff from Faxon and stuff from Gray Ghost Gear, and some Tactical Tailor stuff. So I can't wait to give it away for the raffles so we can give cool stuff to cool people to come to our event. October 24th, please pay attention to the Second Amendment rally that's coming up. There's going to be 30 people. I'm one of the speakers that are going to be there. It's going to be 29 amazing folks talking about Second Amendment, and I can't wait to be a part of it. Yeah, I know it's going to be 29 great
you
people.
Said 30.
Yeah,
and then
and
you
me.
said 29. Are you wearing a tie this time?
I'm gonna dress up a little bit. I might wear a Boogaloo shirt. No, I'm gonna wear something decent with a collar and buttons.
Wow. Wow.
Can't hold me down. But
That's right.
yeah, that's gonna be October 24th. My next one coming up, my next diversity shoot. Also, we have diversity shoots every month this year. So we have one in November, we have one in December, just in case you didn't know how many months are left in a year. I just told you. So anyway, thanks a lot for everybody to supporting me. Please join the Patreon, because that really takes the pressure off, especially when we did these diversity shoots in PA and I had no clue how many people were going to show up. I know I was going to be able to afford to replace the ammo if we had to. And that's also something. Thank you, everyone, including Rob, for donating ammo. So that took that pressure off. You guys have been helping a lot. Thank you. I mean, I'm humbled every time somebody sends me something, anything. It's amazing. So thanks a lot to all the 2A heavy lifters out there. Thanks to you, Chad, and Firearms Radio Network for allowing me to talk about this every week.
Woohoo. So don't forget to go check out Atibal. It was great having Jimmy on to tell us all about this stuff that we probably will forget tomorrow. But either way, it's lives here forever. Go send questions, comments, feedback to gungearreview@gmail.com. Don't forget to pledge your support at gunandgearcult.com. Remember to subscribe and leave an iTunes review. Check out all the other great shows on the Firearms Radio Network. Be sure to visit us at the Firearms Insider. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Firearms Insider. And of course, thank you for listening to the largest pound for pound podcast on the network. And we are out.
Bye, guys.
Bye.